the radio. Tell all of your friends, no matter where they live, no matter what they're doing, and I'm sure they're outside with a radio, take a Bluetooth out there, get a speaker going, and you're in tune to Stages of Life, featuring Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Medical Institute in Longwood, a very close destination, and you will see a full-service facility there, on-site lab, on-site nutraceutical store, you name it. It's done there, and they have so many services we'll hear about later with Robin and from the doctor. And they, of course, had a great wellness day, and everything's going well. We have a guest in the studio, but we're taking your calls right now. So jump in and give us any of your calls on any problems you may be experiencing or challenges, or you need a second opinion on something.
We invited Dr. Ed Lee in. Good dude, endocrinologist here in town, but he has the secret life of Walter Mitty. He writes children's books.
Really?
Yeah. So he wrote a pretty nifty, neat one here called Your Amazing Heart. And this is intended for kids,
wow.
and it's supposed to teach them the 3 secrets of not ending up like me and you. Okay?
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's actually, technically, it would be the same advice that we give adults, but the problem is that they start off as kids, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like any other piece of inertia. You know, if you start things off early, you have a much better chance of ending up with a good result. Yeah. So, Dr. Lee, tell us a little something about this book.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Klein. I just got a text from a friend of mine, and her 14-year-old son has metabolic syndrome, continues to gain weight. He has high blood pressure, high blood sugar, insulin level, fasting, believe it or not, was like 45.
My daughter's was 90. Okay.
Tremendous.
Bethany, you met her.
Yeah, right. So anyway, he's going down that pathway of basically early heart disease. At 14, he read my book, Your Amazing Heart, which is intended generally for children in 3rd grade to 5th grade. That's kind of the sweet spot. And he took it to heart. He eliminated all the sugar out of his diet, and he's lost 40 pounds in the past 4 months.
Well, he started off at 60, so now there's a real issue for this kid. No, I'm just kidding here. Yeah, so what are the 3 secrets?
Well, the 3 secrets are really simple. Number 1 is huff, puff, and sweat every day. And you have to exercise. That means when you say huff, puff, and sweat, it doesn't mean you smoke every day.
Good move. Okay.
Number 2 is you have to eat less sugar, and sugar is the devil. And I'm sure you preach this all day long in your office.
Yeah, it's almost like there's reverb going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And number 3 is very simple, eat more vegetables. And if you can't eat it, then you can drink it. There's beautiful smoothies out there, green smoothies that you can drink, and you can get your fiber and your minerals that way. So it's really huff, puff, and sweat every day, eat less sugar, and eat more vegetables. Very simple secrets. And I actually presented this many times in different schools, and it's amazing how they just open up their eyes. And I hopefully, down the road, they're going to make a difference in their life.
Well, excellent. It's like any other observation. You look around, you see what's going on. You look around and you see what's wrong. And you're a good bit younger than I am, which is kind of frustrates me somewhat. However, okay, you're a good bit younger than I am. And when I was in school, I was looking over, this is bad, okay, because I've got a birthday coming up. And so this is really bad. I was looking over my high school pictures. Don't do this. Yeah, don't do this at home. So I'm looking, I found my draft card. I found all kinds of really cool stuff. I'm thinking, who are these people around me? And what happened to them? Well, in 1972, most everybody in the class was skinny. The fat kid wasn't fat by today's standards. So what has happened? Why do we see the fattening of America? And it's happening at a younger and younger age. In elementary school, they're all wiry little kids. Now they're like little piglets. So from your perspective, my friend, what do you think?
There's a lot of things that have gone on. I think the American government has really screwed us. The American standard diet is the GMO, and it's really there was that period where they developed that the food pyramid, which is really the worst thing ever. So you eliminate all the fat, and what do you put on the bottom? You put all the starches. And that's really, that's the foundation of this obesity. It's just, if you look at, all the all the rates of chronic heart disease, it really starts from that food pyramid.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
If my observation early on, was that it began and ended with it's called the Women's Health Initiative, the WHI, and it was a study published in the early 1970s, which suggested that cholesterol caused heart disease. It doesn't. Didn't then, doesn't now. We're fatter now. We have more heart disease, and guess what? We eat less cholesterol.
There you are. Hey, if you have questions for Dr. Lee, you have questions for Dr. Klein, give us a call, 855-297-9696, 855-297-9696. Now, if you would rather text, and the added bonus to texting on this show is Robin chimes in with the text. We're trying to get her to do that on all the shows, but, her time's valuable. So anyway, you can text us at 21232, 21232. How do you get the book? Well, we'll find out after this break right here on News 96.5. All right, Doctor, how do we get the book?
It's very simple. You can get it on Amazon, and there's 2 books on Amazon, the Kindle version and also the paperback version. Just type in Your Amazing Heart. And then the second version of the book is an animated ebook on Apple iTunes, and you need to basically have a functional iPad. So it only works on an iPad. So if you have an iPad and you like the animated version, you can go on Apple iTunes for $7.99.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and then you can get the paperback version, which is on Amazon.
I've got a question for both doctors and for you, and that is, Robin, are we making any progress? I mean, when we were growing up, Dave and I are about the same age now. He's just about to catch up. He's going to get there.
I'll get you.
All right. When we were young, you got an A on your report card. Mom baked you a cake. You had your birthday. You got a cake and your favorite food, which is usually starch. The family went out to eat on special occasions. Food. We became a food society. Are parents doing any better now?
I think that I think really it's education, and hopefully down the road they will be better in terms of making better food choices. And I think that occasionally you have to go out, celebrate, enjoy life, have a little sugar, but the key is moderation. And if you drink sodas in the morning time and you don't have any real food substances, it's going to eventually damage the entire body. You're starting that big fire in the body, the metabolic syndrome.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I know when I was raising my kids, if you gave the kid a Coke for breakfast and you gave him a bunch of sugary cereal, they would be bouncing off the walls without any Ritalin or any other kind of diagnosis like that from the teacher, doctor.
Well, okay, it's like much of anything else. The sugar is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not all sugars. Okay, but when you're looking at fructose in particular, and we can thank our Department of Agriculture to one extent or another, but it comes from corn, and fructose does something very, very nasty, very deadly to blood sugar that the other sugars don't do, and that it inhibits the insulin receptor. Fructose is weird this way, not glucose, not galactose, which is in honey, but fructose. And if you give a kid or anybody fructose, the cells cannot use insulin as easily. Insulin receptors rack upward, okay? And it's the insulin that puts fat on your stomach. So it's really nasty. So if you actually go back, let's say 40 or 50 or 60 years, people ate those birthday cakes. Okay, they ate the sodas, they ate this and they ate that, but something magical changed. And what happened was we started eating more fructose, okay, and that was where the beginning of the end. So fructose is bad news. The problem, okay, is where do you find fructose? The answer is everywhere. So it's a whole lot easier. It's a whole lot more practical, and you're going to be a whole lot more successful to tell people to cut the simple sugars back, and you'll do better. And the miserable truth is this. The miserable truth is as follows, that your body is poisoned by these things, and your body will and always will crave that which poisons it. It doesn't matter, okay, whether it's fructose, whether it's soy, whether it's abuse, whether it's lack of sleep. Your body has a tendency to crave that which causes it damage. So guess what? You give somebody a little bit of sugar, they tend to get a little bit addicted to it. So try to go out and eat that one. You bet you can't eat one. The Frito-Lays.
potato chip.
It's true, actually. Bet you can't light up just one either, right? You bet you can't light up just one. I bet you just can't eat one M&M or one piece of candy. It doesn't work that way. So the fructose begets more and more of the same behavior. So what you need to do, as Dr. Lee was quite correct in pointing out, is cut that garbage out. So what do you do if you exercise? Your appetite diminishes. What else happens if you're out there exercising? One, your appetite's diminished, but you can't go out there and knock down a Coca-Cola when you're running down the street. It's not going to happen. Not today or not ever. Okay, what about the vegetables? If you're consuming vegetables, you're going to end up getting the minerals that you need. So, Dr. Lee, what are those 3 important things you need to know?
So once again, it's huff, puff, and sweat. You got to exercise every day. And what's interesting, number 2 is you have to also eat less sugar. And number 3, eat more vegetables. But if you had to really choose between one, like eat healthy versus to exercise daily and sweat, I would actually choose to exercise daily. That over trumps everything else. You could cheat a little, but if you pick one, exercise daily, huff, puff, and sweat.
Does watching somebody else exercise count? I guess not.
Not really. But one more quick thing is the reason why this book, I really love this book, is it tells the kids and also the parents why sugar is bad. Because in this book, it's kind of like a time machine. You can see what happens in 10, 20, 30 years, the progression of obesity and heart disease and what plaque actually does. And if plaque ruptures, it causes that major heart attack, the number 1 killer in the U.S. Heart disease is preventable, and I think we have to really spread that message, especially in the youth.
I agree with that. And we have one text here that goes right along with your book, and somebody wants to know, what is the best way to overcome sugar cravings?
Well, there's a couple things. One is I like to do a liver cleanse, and if you really do a guided medical cleanse, that liver cleanse, that can actually reset your craving for sugar. But there's some other supplements out there. I don't know if Dr. Klein uses Garcinia. I've been playing with a little Garcinia. It does work a little in terms of cutting down sugar cravings.
Yeah, Garcinia works. It's one of those things that Brother Oz mentioned on the air.
Yes.
So what happened there is a lot of people are out there trying this stuff out, but it doesn't work nearly as well as berberine. Now, berberine is really, really cool beans. It hasn't made it to the Oz show yet, which means you can still find it. And we're going to come back to that question after the break.
All right, we'll be back. And we have Dr. Klein with us, Robin's with us, and of course now we have Dr. Lee with us on this show to talk about his new book for kids. Grandma and Grandpa out there, and you parents, let's get that in your homes, all right? And read it to the kids. Read it with the kids. It'd even be better. Give us a call. At the toll-free line is 855-297-9696. Text us 21232. We'll be back.
News 96.5.
All right, welcome back. This is the Stages of Life program featuring Dr. David Klein of the Stages of Life Medical Institute in Longwood. We will get contact information on the Stages of Life and some more information from Robin coming up. We have open lines at 855-297-9696, and we're taking your text at 21232, and we're going to start those phone calls in about 2.5 minutes. I'm holding in my hand the topic that we're on now, Your Amazing Heart, and the topics are, do you know how to find your pulse? What happens to blood when it enters your heart? Do you know the 3 secrets for keeping your heart healthy and strong? Learn all this and more about your amazing heart, and this is written for youngsters. And it is available, and we'll get the availability here in a moment. I was the luckiest guy in the room because I just got my copy and didn't have to go through Amazon. But I'm a
Go
lucky
figure
guy.
that one out.
See, I'm so lucky with that.
Yeah.
I also, Robin hand delivers my medicine, but you know that goes with the job.
The perks of
I
broadcast.
do the perks of who I am. Anyway, let's get back to this discussion we're having on sugar, and then we'll get with Pat and Ron and Charlie. So what's up?
Okay, well, the issue here is how can you overcome sugar cravings? Okay, understanding that it's the sugar that's killing you, it's that which you need to get. So typically what I do is I'll use a combination of 2 or 3 different things trying to figure out that which is going to settle this down. The cravings are very rapidly knocked down, and you're going to love this one, by consuming hot water, okay, just plain hot water or hot tea, to which you add either a little bit of cinnamon and honey, or more interestingly, a little bit of cayenne pepper. And what happens is cayenne pepper, stimulates, makes, no kidding, it makes the stomach kick out 2 hormones of satiation. Okay, so if you want to lose weight quickly, this is how you do it. Okay, it's not at all a wonder why in certain parts of the world, certain parts of North America, in Mexico, in Asia, Southeast Asia, they use hot foods. They use spices, curry, but curcumin. They'll use cayenne, and it spices the food up and it causes you to become more sated as it were. So that's the fastest and easiest and probably the cheapest way to do it. And it's little wonder why at the end of a meal, if you give somebody hot coffee, they feel good. If you give them cold beverage in the beginning of the meal, it makes them want to eat more. GIs, Second World War, they always wanted a hot meal because it made you feel better, made you feel more comfortable. So hot food will satiate, cold food will not, and you can kind of goof the body a little bit by using some spicy foods. To that, vanadium and chromium, that's something we'd have to talk about because you can hurt yourself with it if you don't know what you're doing. Berberine and cinnamon. And Dr. Lee, do you have anything to add to that?
I think that's a fantastic list. In my experience is if you do a medical liver cleanse, I like to use a company that's called Metagenics, and they have a 10-day liver cleanse. I see a lot of people. I've done this multiple times, but I have a lot of exactly. It's reset the button, and so you eliminate the 5 things, and that is basically coffee, dairy, gluten, animal protein, and alcohol for 10 days. And you eat really clean and healthy, and there's a medical shake that you take. After you complete it, you're really craving for chocolate or for the sugar is gone. So it's that initial break. You got to break the body. And that's what I like to do is cleanse the body.
Cool. And what is that called again?
It's a liver cleanse that a lot of different healthcare providers, and I'm sure Dr. Klein has his favorite one.
Well, my favorite's called Reset, which I cobbled together and made it raspberry because, while I used to use the Metagenics ones a whole lot, I just didn't like the taste. But everybody's different. If you can put up with that, you can put up with about anything. Although I've got to tell you that the Reset raspberry doesn't taste so great either. Okay, so it is what it is. You pick your poison. So,
all right, very good, Doctor. Hang in there with us. Oh, one more time, how do they get the book? Because we got people really clamoring for this book now.
It's on Amazon.com and also on Apple iTunes.
Okay.
Excellent.
And the name of the book again is Your Amazing Heart, and this is designed for kids. So when you teach the kids, you learn with the kids. Maybe we can stop this craziness in our country.